Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really plunging into something vital, I think. The essence of creativity, innovation, and, well, how we can break through those limits we often put on ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our source for this is a really fantastic, deep conversation between two leaders in this area, Mitch and Richard.
It really is a goldmine of insights, isn't it?
It is.
They pull back the curtain on not just what creativity is, but maybe more importantly, how to cultivate it, how to actually apply it.
Right, the practical side.
Exactly. So our mission today is basically to pull out the most potent, actionable bits of wisdom from what they discussed,
Yeah.
give you a kind of shortcut to tapping into your own creative potential.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this, maybe starting with what Mitch and Richard called the 5 keys to personal creativity. Was the very first sort of fundamental principle they really emphasized for just getting started.
Well, the absolute core, the starting point, was simply saying yes, yes to opportunities, yes to challenges. It's about developing that openness, like a child's sense of wonder,
Yeah.
which unfortunately, they pointed out, can really diminish as we age. We get a bit more cautious, maybe cynical.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Build up walls, and they even brought humor into it, which feels, I don't know, a bit counterintuitive sometimes. How can something like joy or a laugh actually reconnect us with creativity?
Yeah, it's a great point. They suggested humor and joy are actually really powerful tools. They used this vivid example of a court jester
Oh, right.
who could get access to the king through comedy, implying that these unconventional, playful approaches can open doors that formality can't. And look, creativity does involve discomfort, uncertainty. That's kind of baked in when you challenge the status quo.
Sure.
But joy helps you navigate that. It fuels the persistence needed for, well, genuine innovation.
Okay, shifting gears a little bit. It feels connected. Let's talk about discipline. Many of us wrestle with that word. Mitch and Richard had a really interesting take, didn't they? Reframing it completely.
They really did. It wasn't about punishment or forcing yourself. They talked about reframing discipline as like a natural byproduct of joy and passion.
A byproduct.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. The idea is that intrinsic motivation, when you really fall in love with a project, as they put it, that's what leads to sustained effort. That's the real source of discipline and creativity, not gritting your teeth and forcing it.
That really resonates. It feels different when you're pulled towards something versus pushing yourself.
Yeah.
And that links nicely to something else they covered, quieting the mind.
Yeah.
In this world, which is just full of distractions, what do they say about focus? How does that impact creativity?
Oh, hugely. They emphasize that you almost need a quiet mind to even access creativity properly and definitely to maintain focus. Mitch even shared how he uses social media, which we usually think of as a distraction machine. He uses it constructively to build community and support creative work, kind of flipping the script on it.
That's smart.
And yeah, this all leads into the broader idea of, well, mindfulness.
Okay, so mindfulness, they talked about unlocking creativity through it. What did they really mean by having a quiet mind to, like, catch those insights or coincidences?
Well, a quiet mind, in their view, lets you notice things you'd otherwise miss. Serendipity, important messages, maybe subtle connections. Mitch gave an example, didn't he, about how being in that quiet state led to a really meaningful connection and taking action. They also touched on this scientific concept, blind variation, selective retention. Basically, your brain is always generating ideas, variations.
Because subconsciously.
Exactly, subconsciously, loads of them intersecting. And a quiet, focused mind helps you select the good ones, the useful ones, and bring them into your awareness.
So it's about being tuned in, aware of those, like, subconscious sparks.
Precisely. Aware of them and, crucially, recording them. Even if you can't act on every single idea right away. Jot it down, voice note, whatever.
Capture the thought.
Yes, capture it. This also ties into not trying too hard sometimes, allowing creativity to happen more naturally. They link these different levels of creativity directly to overall innovation.
Okay, fantastic framework. Let's pivot now to some really practical tools. Things you, the listener, can apply. They spent time on mastering the art of questioning. Why is asking the right questions so critical? What was their take?
They really stressed taking the time to understand the question or even the problem before you leap to solutions. Mitch talked about how he helps clients and students frame things correctly. It's a skill in itself.
How does he do that?
Well, one technique was turning assumptions into questions. So instead of assuming this is too expensive, you ask, how could we make this affordable? Or what resources could make this viable? It just opens things up.
That's a powerful shift. Changes the whole energy.
Totally. And Richard chimed in that just following your curiosity, asking what if or why, can lead you down unexpected, fruitful paths.
Simple curiosity.
Yeah.
And what about visualization? Did they connect that?
Oh, definitely. They highlighted the incredible power of visualization, imagination, drawing parallels to people like Einstein doing thought experiments or, Olympic athletes mentally rehearsing.
Right. You hear about that a lot.
Yeah, because it works.
Mm.
Envisioning success or the steps to get there, it doesn't just spark creative ideas about how to do it, but it seems to have real physical and mental benefits too, priming yourself for that goal.
Okay. So from questions and visualizing,
Yeah.
let's talk platforms.
Mhm.
Getting ideas out there. Mitch shared a very practical strategy he used with Medium.
Hmm.
How did that work? What was the goal?
Yeah, that was interesting. He talked about using Medium to publish positive content, specifically about someone named Prem Rawat in his case. But the strategy itself is what's key. He explained how publishing this positive content helped push those articles higher in search results.
So it's partly SEO, search strategy.
Kind of, yeah. A way to proactively counter maybe negative articles that might otherwise dominate searches. It's a smart example of strategic content promotion.
Very practical.
And he actually encouraged Richard to think about starting a Medium blog himself to showcase his own work, attract new people, and even offered to guide him on, the best ways to do it.
That's great. Okay, let's tackle a big one now. Roadblocks. Specifically, excuses. We all have them. Mitch shared how he helps people push past financial and personal excuses. What were some of his strategies there?
Well, first off, he shared some pretty inspiring success stories, like two people from a recent course who hit major financial goals, $200,000 and $500,000 annually.
Wow.
So that shows it's possible. But his approach includes concrete things too, like a scholarship program to remove the money excuse for some. And again, that technique of turning assumptions into questions, I don't have time, becomes, how can I find or make the time? It directly helps people dismantle their own barriers. His mission seems very focused on helping people see past those self-imposed limits.
That sounds incredibly empowering. A way to get people unstuck by changing how they think about the problem.
Exactly.
And tied into overcoming individual barriers is, well, support. Community. How did Mitch's courses emphasize that?
Oh, community was huge. They focus heavily on it, especially through what he called accountability partnerships.
Okay.
Participants get matched up, apparently based on having complementary skills, even if they're different in other ways, which probably brings diverse perspectives.
That makes sense. Different strengths supporting each other.
Right. And he shared some personal connections, like mentioning Susan and John, who joined through word of mouth. He highlighted how valuable that community is, especially for, say, writers like Susan. She might otherwise need pricey private coaching, but in this setup, she gets a supportive, effective group environment.
That community aspect sounds vital. Now, let's zoom out a bit to Mitch's own story. It's pretty inspiring. How did he go from, I think he said being fired, to becoming this successful creativity coach with a multi-million-dollar company?
Yeah, his story is a real testament to embracing disruption, maybe? Being fired as a speechwriter wasn't the end. It was actually the catalyst. It pushed him to lean into his natural creative talents fully. He started really small, a free seminar, 30 people showed up.
Putting it out there.
Exactly. And that momentum led him to co-found Idea Champions with his partner, Steve McHugh.
Yeah.
It grew from like a side project into this major business.
That's a classic pivot point, turning a negative into a huge positive. They also talked about a fascinating case study, healthcare innovation, Atlantic Care. What happened there and what was the key takeaway? It seemed a bit cautionary.
Yeah, Atlantic Care, a healthcare company they worked with for 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And they won the Baldrige Award, which is a big deal for quality and innovation.
To success, right?
Well, yes and no. That was the fascinating part Mitch highlighted. He felt they only superficially implemented the principles. They got the award, but the deep change wasn't quite there. And apparently, it even led to an executive leaving, someone who was committed to the deeper change. So it's a really powerful reminder that, awards and external validation don't always mean true. Lasting transformation happened internally.
That is such a critical distinction. Wow.
Yeah.
The difference between surface change and deep change.
Precisely.
Okay, looking ahead then, what sort of future collaborations did Mitch and Richard discuss? Things that could potentially impact more people.
Well, they talk about Richard's own upcoming work, a podcast, other media stuff. Mitch actually offered to help him set up that Medium page we mentioned to promote his services. He even threw out a big goal, like $2 million in annual revenue, just planting that seed.
Wow, ambitious.
Yeah. And they discovered they had mutual connections, like someone named John Slowski. They even brainstormed a potential collaboration using, get this, AI animations for topics like gratitude.
AI animations, interesting.
Yeah, exploring new ways to share these kinds of ideas.
What an incredible deep dive this has been, really digging into the practical side of creativity and, well, making things happen.
Yeah.
From reframing discipline through joy, which I love, to asking better questions, the power of community. We've covered so much ground.
We really have. And it emphasizes, doesn't it, that creativity isn't just some random flash of lightning. It's about intentional practice. It's about quiet reflection, having the courage to say yes, even when you're not sure where it leads, and questioning your own assumptions constantly.
Absolutely. So for you, our listener, as you wrap up listening today, here's maybe a thought to take with you. Think about one area, just one, where you feel creatively blocked or stuck right now. What if, instead of just trying to push harder, you consciously looked for the joy in that process, or even adjacent to it? How could you make it more enjoyable? And how might just that shift change how you even measure success in that area? Something to mull over.